Happy New Year. It's a big pleasure once again being here to talk about Spiritism in this house. That's always a big pleasure, and especially now being the first talk of the year. We have been with our families for Christmas, we have been with our families for New Year's, and hopefully we spend some time with them talking about stuff that is really important, which is our relationships with them, talk about personal things, spend a really quality time with them. And hopefully we have some New Year resolutions. So maybe some of you guys are gonna decide to do more exercise during the New Year, or spend more time with family, or quit smoking, you know, whatever you need to do, right? A friend of mine said he's gonna come over like every Tuesday. That was his resolution. But he said, I'm gonna go over every Tuesday except when Marcelo's talk. So that's fine, no problem. And but we everything that is based on my talk today is on chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. So they say, I'm not going to read the text, I have it prepared, but it's going to be too long if I read everything. So what they say that we can lighten or heighten the harshness of our trials by the way we approach life, by the way we approach earthly life. It's like a very interesting way. So I'm a guy that I work with problems. I'm an engineer. This is my main work. I do it every day for 25 years, and I like to do it. And we have also know the Spiritism, something that I have been studying for a long time. And I thought maybe we can combine those two things, Spiritism and solving problems, and give you guys some more information so you can maybe get some your New Year's resolution in shape. It's one more motive for you guys to work well on the New Year resolutions, and maybe I'm going to give you some more ideas to work on this year, to make this new year the best year of your life, a better one, to make the next year even better, and so on. That's my goal tonight. I learned that the biggest problem we have in life, that we all have in life, is the big quantity of problems we have. So the biggest problem is that we have one problem after other. It's a lot of problems that we have in life, right? And so we're going to talk about this thing. The talk is going to have 3 parts. So what we know about life's difficulties. So if you want to defeat life's difficulties, you have to know about the problem, right? The second part is the difficulties that are originated in this life, how we handle them, how we can make them easier, how we can make our life easier facing those kind of difficulties. And the third part is the difficulties not originating in this life, that have other origins. We are going to talk about this in the third part. Part 1, so what we know about our difficulties according to Spiritism. First, why we reincarnate. So we know that the real life according to Spiritism is the spiritual life. We are spirits that happen to be incarnated now. And the time we spend here is it's not a lot of time if you compare it to the eternity, right? It's a very small time. But what we are doing here, right? What's the purpose of this life? And according to the Book of Spirits, the purpose is like purification, to redress previous mistakes and to make progress. So basically to evolve. So people think that we are here to suffer, in this life to suffer, but this is not according to Spiritism. The purpose of life is evolution. We have to learn, we're going to learn to be a more loving person, we are going to learn how to be more intelligent, and we are going to learn how to heighten our moral, have more morals in our life. These 3 things are the important things that we we learn here. So, like I said, some people think that suffering is the purpose of life, and including if you go many years ago, like 200-300 years ago, back, many Western religions they used self-flagellation as a way of purification. They did that. They got a whip, or if they did something wrong, they would self-flagellate. And we don't do it anymore. Even I don't think any religion does it anymore. So we kind of evolved in this matter. But just to show you guys that just the suffering doesn't help. We have to go through suffering. But Emmanuel says that in the book Vine of Light, that suffering is not enough to reach spiritual advance. It's need to know how to overcome suffering, thus receiving the blessings of light that pain brings to the hearts seeking peace. So basically he says that we have to know how to suffer. We have to look every time there is a difficulty, a problem, something, we have to look at it, and we have to extract what lesson is in there for us. And that's the right way to approach suffering. It's something that we have to go through, but there is a lesson behind it. God doesn't send this promise to us without any reason. There is always something for us. Another thing that some people think about suffering that's not right is like in the Book of Spirits, Kardec talks about what happens with some people that are like celebrities or billionaires. They just have a good life, so they don't suffer in life. Why some people have this kind of good life and most of people they don't, right? And then the answer was that we are not close to these people. We are not friends of them. We just know them by the press. So we don't know what's in their hearts. And they said that these people also have lots of suffering going on, lots of problems. They don't have financial problems, maybe, but they have a lot of other problems as well. And so basically, that everybody that's here, we are having some sort of lesson with the difficulties that we are going through. There is a story about a German billionaire. Here, his first name was Adolf. He died in 2009. And this illustrates pretty much what they are trying to teach us. So this Adolf, he had like in 2008, he had a big fortune of 13 billion euros. It was a decent amount of money, right? And he had a bad year in 2009, and he lost 4 billion euros. It was really a big hit. Still, he had remaining 9 billion euros, so it was enough to get by, right? It's not too bad. But then, what happened with this Adolf? He had like he made some bets on Volkswagen stocks, and he lost like 400 million euros more, and he could not lose because he had no money anymore. He had only stocks. He had the only thing that could not sell, and he needed desperately cash. And he needed a loan, so he went to the banks and he got a loan 400 million euros to close his issues. And the bank said, okay, we can give it to you, but you're going to lose control of 2 big companies. And those 2 big companies are the ones that his father had given to him. That was the thing that his father started, the business. And he was really sad, and he tried everything to get around that, but there was no way. So his dream was to, in a few years, he was already 74 years old, he was dreaming to give the same 2 companies to his son. His son would run those companies. And he had to give up on this dream. And he finished the business and stuff, and then he went back home, he got his affair in order, and he decided to terminate his life. He decided to do it. So he still had like $8 billion euros in his fortune. He had like a lot of good stuff to go. He could still fight and maybe recover the companies. But he was so desperate on this thing that happened to him that he decided to do it. It was desperation. He was really suffering, right? That gives us some food for thought. So we have like first the thing that the celebrities, billionaires, we look at them as they are the best, the parameters for success, in this life, in the world, right? We look at them. This is the best I can be in life, is to be a billionaire, is to be a celebrity. That's the best I can do. But that doesn't bring happiness, right? Doesn't bring it. They are going. They still suffer. They have their issues. The first thing is like even someone that's surrounded by means to be happy. If here he's not, doesn't have the right approach in life, has a true earthly approach in life, he can get into very difficult situations. He can do some desperate things. He can live in hell. So what is here and here inside of us, it's very, very important. Sometimes we can be materially not well, but if you are minds and hearts in good shape, we can live peacefully. We can have some sort of, and vice versa. Another thing we know about suffering is that everybody in this life, including me, we are sometimes looking for magic formulas to be happy. So we don't want to spend much effort being happy. We dream about having a perfect family, to be healthy, to have kids that are healthy, intelligent, they go to school, they do everything, have a good job, a good pay, and if you can like not work too hard, that's even better, right? We dream. That's human nature. I think the same things. I don't know if everybody thinks, but I guess many of us do this. And we can just exaggerate sometimes, or people can take advantage of us because we think this way. So there is an example like Bernard Madoff. The guy was, I guess it's a name that everybody knows, or most of you guys know. He was running a Ponzi scheme, which was, he was getting money from investors, and he was promising high returns like 10, 15, 20%, I don't know exactly, but it was really high returns for many people. And he was not investing the money, he was just using the money to buy good stuff for him, and at some point everything went down, like the whole castle went down, right? And maybe very savvy, financially savvy people went there and maybe put money there. And so they were looking for an easy way, all right, shortcut. They were not looking for a normal investment that's going to give some efforts, they are looking for a shortcut, and he took advantage of them. And these guys are, like I said, many of the guys are very savvy financially, but the greed was too strong, or the temptation was too strong. They could not resist to it. Another case, like more comic case, like if you go to the Wild West or old Wild West movies, there is sometimes this guy that has a chariot. He goes in the middle of town and he's going to sell some medicine that he does inside his chariot, you know. And he goes and says to everybody, this is gonna, if you have a stomach ache, you can drink it and it's gonna work for you. And if you are bald, you can just put it on your head. It's gonna cure the baldness. Anything, basically, that's gonna cure anything any problem you have or imagine, you're gonna cure, right? And there is a line of guys buying this thing because they want a magic formula. That's what they want, right? And many of us do that. But with Spiritism, they teach us there is no magic formula. So let's not even waste our time looking for something like that. We need always to do some effort to get whatever we want, right? We need. And Emmanuel in the Consoler, he says that exactly this, that the pain, the fight, the experience are nothing but sacred opportunities conceded by God to His sons. So all the pain, suffering, difficulties we have, it's opportunity that God gives to us. And says the virtue as a sublime and eternal acquisition of the Spirit in the paths of life, and is forever part of His assets. So we need to make the effort to acquire the virtues. And that's going to be with us forever. We'll never lose it. And the third third thing, one more thing I would like to talk about pain, suffering is that's sometimes we see someone that it's very close to us, is going through some difficulty, some problem, and we want to help this person. And there's a lot of there's the right and the wrong way to help. The right way is like let's try to be humble when we are helping someone, because we cannot make like him feel bad when he's being helped. So this is very hard to do. You have to be very take good care to make it the right way. And second thing is that we cannot help the person too much, right? Give too much help, because we cannot make it for him. So we have to go slow, right? We have to see what's the point. This person can do his part and then help the rest. Right? If we do too much, it's going to be like the parents that help kids, and they help too much. They do everything for the kids, and then when the kids grow up, they go out of the house and they don't know how to do anything. They are not prepared for life, and they're going to have a hard time learning everything that they had to learn when they were kids and teenagers. They're going to have to learn after that. So, and many parents do that, right? They help too much. There is one example that I did that some years ago. So there was like many years ago, I had like to make a very hard decision in my life. So and I was already spiritist, and I did not know what to do. So I was kind of looking for a way to get some hint from the good spirits to give me some hint on what I should do, right? And then there was one day I got a message from spiritual spirits. It was like a piece of paper. There was a lot of stuff written there. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I was looking for. So this is the magic formula, right? I was looking for the magic formula. This is the answer for my prayers. So let me start to study this thing and get through it. And then I started to read it, and I could not find what was the magic formula. I could not find anything that said to me, Marcelo, go left or go right. I did not know. I read it twice, 3 times, 4 times. It didn't help. And then there was a friend of mine. I asked him or her to come over to help me. I explained, and we started to read together. It was the same conclusion. So I don't know what's the answer to your problem, right? If this is error or not. Then I read it again. It was like that. It was a big message, but it was like about that the difficulties in life are normal, that we have to go through, and I have to apply love on this situation as much as I could. And then I realized, okay, this is it. This is what a good spirit does. He doesn't tell me go left or right. A good spirit, he gives me the way. He's gonna give me some guidance. He's gonna tell me apply love on this situation. It's not gonna say Marcelo go left or go right. And this is when I talk that we the parents, if they help too much, that's the same situation. So the good spirits, they are like in the role of our parents somehow, in terms that they are more evolved, right? So they can't let us, they can't tell us what to do, but they will just give some guidance, and the rest we have to do ourselves. Now let's talk about the second part. Difficulties originated in this life. I was writing this public speech. It was years ago in Dallas still. I started to study this thing, and I had an idea about. My idea was that most of the problems we have in life, they were originated on the former lives, on the previous lives, and not on this life. I had this idea. And then I started to study, and I found this part of the book of the Spirit, the Gospel, and they say just the opposite. They say that most, they don't say a number, but most of the problems that happens are caused by us on this life. It's not like this, right? This life is not this life. It's not, that's the way I thought it was. So most of the stuff was not this life. So it's things that I did before, and the least amount of problems is in this life. But they say that's the way it is. So most of the problems that happen in this life are caused by ourselves. And they say it's caused by our carelessness. So we are not careful enough. We don't take care of our lives the way it should be. There is another book, Hermans do Fox, You Deserve to Be Happy. She talks about imaginary karma. And she says 2/3 of the problems, she said something, 2/3 of the problems originate in this life. And the 1/3 remaining is not this life. So it's more or less the same message we got from the Gospel. And this was really hard for me to understand. And she says that it's caused by imprudence and poor choices. It was very hard for me in the beginning because I was used to blame everybody else because of my problems. And then I got this message that they are saying that I'm careless, I'm imprudent, I made poor choices and stuff like that, and it was really hard. And then I had to blame myself for most of my problems. This was hard. And after like some time of thinking, I thought maybe this is not too hard, because if I'm the troublemaker, if I'm doing most of my issues, I have the power to not do it, right? I have to stop this troublemaker of doing all these problems. If I do that, that's going to be really better. My life can improve a lot. So that's the good news. We have this power, right? We can do it. If we take care of ourselves in the right way, we can have a lot of less problems. We can have a much better new year and a much better life from now on. And then I went through a list of stuff that they say that the Spirit say that the way we face this life, it's what causes most of the problems. We face it the wrong way. If we face the life more in a spiritual way, we have a lot less problems than if we don't face it, if we face it in an earthly way. And I went through a list of stuff that we do that can cause suffering, just for you guys to have some examples. This list is like based on my life experience. Of course, for anybody it's going to be different. Everybody has a different life experience, so not everything applies to everybody. I would like that if you are interested to spend some time trying to figure out what are the things that you do that can make your life worse. But this is an example just for you guys to know what I'm talking about. Some real life examples. So first thing, like let's say we have some issue going on. There's a difficulty, a problem, and many people go to complaints and nagging. So they're complaining about the problem, they're nagging about the problem to everybody. They talk a lot about what the problem is, everybody that is available to listen, but they don't do anything. So some people do that. That's the reaction, right?
No.
No?
No, that's it.
Some people do that. And it's a not very productive way to handle problems. It's gonna even get worse. This is what they're talking. If you approach the wrong way, you're going to make it worse. How we make it worse? First, you're not dealing with the problem, right? You're just talking about it. Secondly, it's on your mind all the time. On your mind all the time, just around you and around the people around you. To listen to the blah blah blah, right? And so you're vibrating on this problem. It's becoming bigger. You're making bigger than it really is. And so this is not the way. So let's say if that rings a bell, please think about it. Second, anger and blaming. Blame, especially blame, is a really good way, really easy way. It's a very attractive way to deal with a problem. Let's blame on somewhere else. It was Obama, it was Lula, it was the government, it was, I don't know, the phase of moon. It was my wife, my husband. That's really easy, right? It's a very easy way to do. And that is going to bring to anger to it was God. Why God is making this to me, right? You can do all this. This is ways that are not productive. So this is gonna, if you get anger about this, then it's gonna even affect your body. Like it's gonna somatize something in your body and stuff. That's really not productive way. And we can make our lives harder if we do these things this way. That's a really good one that many people does. Next one, kick the can down the road. Kick the can down the road. It's like em português, vou deixar como tá para ver como é que fica. Empurrar com a barriga. That's a really other easy one to make things worse, right? Because a problem you don't deal with, it's gonna get worse with time. And many people do that. They just avoid dealing with the problem, and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get bigger. It's gonna come back bigger. It's gonna get. We have to deal with that before it gets too bad. Problems in personality, like people are too inflexible. Some people, they are inflexible. They are very tough to deal with. They think they are right about all the issues. They think they know the truth, and everybody else is wrong. And that takes a lot of energy to keep up with this kind of personality. It's tough. It's not easy. And it makes a lot of damage for yourself and for the people around you, right? Because, so, like I said, it takes a lot of energy to be flexible because you're going to get problems, difficulties with everybody around you, right? You have to fight your way to everybody. It takes a lot of energy. That probably is going to get you some health issue with some time, right? Your human your relationships are going to suffer because nobody wants to be around a person like that. You may end up alone after some time. And I think in my opinion now, worst of all, you're not going to learn anything because your way is the right way. My way is the right way. I know the truth. I know how it should be. So I'm not able to learn with any relationship with anybody else. It's a kind of time wasted, which is pretty bad. So basically the guys, the person that works like this, makes a lot of damage to himself, a lot. And the opposite of it, so in life we have to have balance, right? So someone is too flexible, like a person that really doesn't have a say in anything. This is also bad. That's going to make someone very unhappy, very, very unhappy. Because everybody else, many human beings in our grade of evolution, we still, unfortunately, abuse people that functions like this. They're too flexible. So probably, if you want someone is like this, that finds someone that abuses you emotionally, physically, or mentally, you're gonna get very unhappy. It's a very tough situation. So we have to stand up for ourselves when it's time to do it. There is some people in many religions, they think that we have to always give the other face. That was a teaching from Jesus. But it doesn't apply to this situation. In this situation, you have to take care of yourself. You have the right to take care of yourself. We have to love ourselves. So our self-esteem goes down if we don't do anything about this. The teaching about giving the other face is something else. It's like let's not seek revenge. Let's not try stuff like that. This is a different situation. We have to stand up for ourselves in this time. We have to respond in a productive and healthy way. We don't fight. We don't have to fight with the person if he's trying to abuse us, but we have to respond in some way that is healthy. This is for our this is a way to make our lives miserable, and here's the solution for it. Right? That's what I'm looking for. Then later on we're going to talk about resignation. This is also not resignation. Resignation, we are going to see it later. My favorite now, another one, is be the victim. Be the victim is also very good. It's like, I think it's a cousin of the blaming stuff. So it's another very easy one. So there is a problem, there is an issue. I have to do something about it because there is people looking at me, right? And for many reasons, maybe I think I'm not good enough to take care of this issue. I don't have, maybe I think I don't have the resource to do it, to face these problems. Then I become the victim because the victim is the victim. She has a role already, which is being the victim. It doesn't have to do anything. Or maybe I want to draw attention to myself. Right? This is another way. I like the attention that being the victim gives to me. And so there's many reasons why people does that. It's case by case basis, but it's also a bad one because it doesn't solve, the problem still remains. After some point of time, because deep inside we know we are wrong, we are going to start feeling guilty. We may start feeling guilty because we're not doing anything about that. And that's gonna be bad, right? One more in my list is like express emotions. Sometimes like people has trouble to express emotion, right? It doesn't look like a really bad thing, but it is because so maybe something happens and you don't let it out, you don't have anyone to talk about it, you don't give yourself the right to talk about it, which is more important. Sometimes you just go like, I don't have the right to express it, or a very manly guy, a real guy doesn't express emotion, has to keep it, so it's tough to, right? With some time we also can this is gonna show some ways within us, right? We can have some sickness or something that's gonna show up. And also being vulnerable is part of the having a better relationship, showing what we feel, what we think at all times. It's part of having good friends because we show who you are. A good family relationship is because you show who you are. You have to show yourself you are vulnerable sometimes. That's a good thing. So not expressing emotion is wrong. It's not expressing emotion would be the right thing. So not expressing emotions is difficult to express emotion. It's a big problem in some people's lives. Another thing on my list is lack of planning. And this is especially important for the parents here in this room. So let's say I have 3 kids, 3 girls, and they are leaving my house now. They are going to college and stuff, and I prepared them to live by themselves. I gave some financial advice. They know how to have a budget, how to live within their means. This is not taught by any school, unfortunately. I think it should be. But we as parents, we have the role to do it because we have to prepare them to take care of their financials. There's a lot of separations that happen. Most of the separations, the divorce, I would say most of, at least a big number of them, it's because of financial reasons. People that doesn't know how to take care of the financials, and they end up separated. So there is a huge impact in their lives long run. And we as parents, we are like the first line of defense. We have to teach our kids when it's time for them to leave, how to take care of financials. And it looks like obvious, but it's important. And many people don't do it. Another thing is kind of, I hope nobody takes it politically, because it's not. It's like family planning. So we have to teach our kids how to do family planning. My 3 girls, they were in high school, and they told me there is a lot of girls, like the senior year of high school, they get pregnant, or first years of college, same happens. Imagine how much trouble the lives of these girls. It's a lot harsher, because they did not have like enough support from their parents to make the right decisions when it was time. And so it's going to be tougher to finish high school, it's going to be tougher to finish college, it's going to be tough to get like a job, and that's going to affect their lives for a long time. And if we as parents, we have these talks with our kids when it's time, we can avoid all these kind of issues. And also going back to financial plan is like we have to take care of the financial of the kids, because if the kids get in trouble, they're going to ask us for money, right? So let's let's avoid this. So it's our own interest. Let's not do it. All right. This is it for difficulties originating in this life. So we are the troublemakers, basically. We create most of the problems we have in this life. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. And but we have, if you are interested, we can get rid of all these issues, because maybe you're not going to get in trouble anymore, right? We just have to take care of ourselves. We have to know ourselves. We have to be paying attention on our behaviors at all times, and so we're going to avoid lots of these problems, and for our relatives too. The third part, so difficulties not originate in this life. So this is a little bit more difficult to deal with, because it's kind of out of our control. At first it looks like we have little control or no control over it. It's still a big part of our problems, right? But if we think a little bit, we can make it a lot easier for us. Let's talk a little bit about karma. So difficulties are not originate in this life. Basically, it's karma or trials, things that we have to go through. If you ask too many husbands and wives what is karma, even spiritists, they're going to say karma is my wife or my husband. In the sense that they will not tell that. So in the sense that they think that the wife or husband gives a lot of trouble. That's what they want to imply with this statement. But they are wrong. If that's what they want, they are wrong, because karma is not that. And karma can be good and can be bad. And this is important to know. André Luiz, in the book Action and Reaction, he meets a higher spirit which is called Sanzio. And Sanzio starts to talk about karma. And he makes a big explanation. But for us, the interesting part, let's go to the chase. For us, it means our accounts with all credits and debits belonging to us. So it's saying like the karma means action, talks about the law of action and reaction, and it is an account that we have in spiritual life. So basically, he's saying that there is a bank in spiritual life. It's called Bank of Karma. Everybody has an account there.
Does it have interest?
Huh?
Does it have interest?
I don't know. I was thinking that we have to have to find. Hopefully not, right? At least when it's red, hopefully not. When it's blue, then it's good. So and then we have this account, and every time we do something good, we get a credit. Every time we do something bad, we get a debit. That's how it works. There is a small difference, like if I open an account in Bank of America and then I spend too much, I always have the resource of bankruptcy. I can file for bankruptcy. I'm not going to have to pay, right? But on the Bank of Karma, there is no bankruptcy. If it's red, doesn't matter how red it is, we have to pay it. We have to pay until the last cent, as Jesus said. We have to pay it. And, but that looks bad, but maybe it's a good thing because we have like, let's say I do a lot of bad stuff and then my debt goes down a lot. I always can like change my life and start to do good things, and then I'm going to get some credits there, right? And then when it's time to pay, instead of having a huge debt, I'm going to have a smaller one. So that's my strategy to deal with this thing. Financial strategy. Good. Yeah. So what we can do then? So let's say, let's give the example of Madoff. Let's say I'm Madoff and I run a Ponzi scheme, and I got a lot of money from many people, retirees, and I made in a former life, I made a lot of issues, and so there's a lot of grief that I caused. And then my bank account on Karma, bank account went down quite a bit, right? So I have a big debt. And then I go back to spiritual life, I repent, and I ask for a chance to come back and repay my debts. And let's say, this is an example, right? I don't think I did, I hope I did. Hope I didn't. So let's say I come back, then I have I really repent that was ingrained on me, and then I decide in my life, I'm going to work as a social worker, so I'm going to help people that was victims of this kind of stuff. I'm going to help with these guys, I'm going to give them some advice, how they can make their lives better. So that is going to go back to my account. There's going to be some credits on my account. And maybe when I came back, there was a planning for me to go to retirement age and then lose everything. And that was the plan that was done for me because of all the crap I had done before. But then, because I have repaid so much on my bank account, the Karma account, when it's time for this to happen, my mentor, spiritual mentor, they can talk, and then they say, okay, Marcelo really repent. He's doing a lot of good stuff about what he said. I think he really learned the lesson. So maybe he doesn't have to go through all this what was planned for him. Maybe we can make it lighter. Maybe we can give him something a little bit better than that. So maybe something happens that because of all my effort and showing that I was a good boy now, I learned my things. So now I can get the Karma Bank guys, they can give me a break, so they can give me a better thing. That's a way to work. So to work this kind of thing. So this is my strategy. We can do charity work. We can do good things to try to get our balance better. Try to make it work. And in this way, we have less difficulties in life. We can get some a better future for us. We will have there will be some reward for what we're doing. That's the message. There will be some reward for it. So there is a way for us to work even on these things, this kind of things. And let's say, so this, like I said, this kind of stuff that happen a lot in this life, there is no shelter. Like what I'm trying to say, there will always something is going to happen in our lives, in everybody's life. There will be difficulties in everybody's lives, no matter what we do. Because we have a big debt, because there is trials, there is new stuff that we have to go through. So there will always be. But there is also something that can help us on this matter, which is the resignation. Resignation can help us a lot. So the way we face these problems, like the Spirit said, the way we face makes a big difference. We can face a loss of $4 billion in a way that's gonna make us really get desperate, or you can face a loss of something really, maybe a loved one, or something that is gonna maybe, and we are gonna go through that in a more balanced way. Depends on the way we see things. Depends on what is, and the resilience is this. Resignation is this. So resignation is is how to develop resilience, and the resilience is a kind of new word. We were talking about this like there was some not long ago. So resilience, what it is? If I get a egg from a chicken in my hand and I throw it on the floor, it's gonna break. It's gonna break, and the shape is never gonna be the same. So there is no way to fix it the way it was before. But if I get a tennis ball and I do the same thing, I throw it in the floor, it's gonna bump and come back to my hand, and I look at it, the shape is the same. So the tennis ball is resilient. The tennis ball can suffer some force, some pressure, something can compress it, but after this is done, then it goes back on shape, the shape it was before. And that's what we have to do. So we have to develop a resignation, so we are more resilient, so we are more strong. If something happens to us, that pressure or something bad, then we are gonna suffer for some time, but we are gonna come back intact or the way we were before. Resilience is something dynamic, and is an active way of accepting problems. It's a posture of life to seek interior research to deal with problems. We have to always think that life is a school, right? The real life, it's the spiritual life. We are spirits that happen to be incarnated now. That's the real life of us. We are here for a brief time. We are here to. This is like if to us, this life is like a school period. It's like we are doing, I don't know, first, second, third grade, something like that, fourth grade or some grade. And everybody is learning whatever is ready to learn. And that's that all the difficulties that come to us, they are lessons that the teacher, God, is giving to us. That's why we are. So we have to try, and that's not easy, to look at every difficulty in life as an opportunity to grow, opportunity to learn stuff, to learn something. And that's a way to develop the resignation. We should not look at this like a tragedy or something that was thrown at us. God is infinite love. God is infinite wisdom. God knows us better than we know ourselves. And He is giving to us whatever we need to get, to learn, to be more perfect, to be more, to be closer to Him. And as a conclusion, so I'm gonna just get some thoughts about everything I said, and try to get everything together. So first I talked about what we know about life's difficulties, about the second difficulties originating in this life, that we can manage them, we can get the troublemaker to stop making troubles. That's the strategy. The third one is difficulties not originating in this life, which is so we can try to get try to pay our debts on the karma bank, and we can do the resignation, develop the resignation to when we have to face some difficulties, we're going to face in a better way. And the spirits are going to be here to help us but the problems we have to solve. And we have to be optimistic and look at life with eyes that someone that is looking for a growth opportunity. This is all I have. Thank you very much. If you have any questions? Do you have any questions? No?
It's not really a question, but a comment about what you said about the express emotions. Some people don't verbalize emotions. They cannot talk, but they express in different ways. I think what you meant is that they are not able to talk about their emotions, right? Because you're an engineer and you know that engineers, nerds, they don't talk about it. I know this very well. But did you mean that their inability to verbalize? Because everybody expresses somehow.
I think, yeah, that's a very good point. I think, no, we have just to have a way to let it out. That's what I'm trying to say. So everybody is different, and many people are going to have another way to. Most of people verbalize, but there's another ways. There is yoga, you can do relaxation, or there's many ways. But the things that people have to have some way to have an emotion that is inside his heart to make it run his course, right? To go out, get it out somehow. And the way depends on every person.
But I think the idea is to express in a healthy way and not let it inside. And when you express, you're like,
yes,
right?
This is a very good one too. Yeah, it's some people that. Some people that do not verbalize, they can just...
It might explode or...
Yeah, they're gonna let store it right inside at the point that they can't take it anymore, and then they're gonna explode, and then it's gonna be worst, because then they're gonna make a lot of damage all around. Whoever is around is gonna listen, is gonna have a hard time dealing with this. So this is there's a healthier way, which is every time there is something that bothers us, and we try to express, try to put it out, try to talk maybe, or do whatever we want to do to express our discomfort, and then we don't have let it accumulate. Right? That's
because acknowledge what you're feeling, and verbalizing is very good, very helpful. But a person that is playing tennis, like they are expressing our emotions, but that's not gonna. In this list that you created, is not what we are looking for. This is not the preferred way. I thought that what you meant was like in a relationship, for example, father and son, or employee and somebody, expressing in a verbal way, in a healthy way. Because box is like wrestling, you're expressing your emotions. You hate the world, punching really hard, but
yeah, think about yeah, you're right. Think about expressing a healthier.
Verbal.
The verbalize is very good, because if you verbalize, you talk to people, you develop better relationships with everybody, because you're talking about stuff that is going inside of you to get people to let people to know you better, and probably hopefully the other person is gonna do the same, and you just have better relationships.
Yeah, communication
is awesome. Yeah. That works a lot.
And also in the part of the difficulties.
I think I have one question.
Oh, sorry. No, question. No.
Okay.
I'll do them after you.
All right.
In the parts of difficulties not originated in this life, let's imagine.
It's all Fernanda anyway, right?
Yeah, at home.
Yeah.
Let's imagine a situation of somebody that came with a disability, so this is not originated in this life.
Awesome. I forgot.
Yeah, so I see that, because you said that the way you deal with your problems is what makes you progress. So let's say a person comes with a disability and does it in a nice way. So then it's something that you do in this life.
No.
You are dealing with your problem. So in my opinion, and I'm sorry if I'm going too much, everything is about what you do in this life. So I agree with that graph. What you do in this life is like 99%.
It's more than
Just something.
yeah, what I forgot to talk about is like this thing about most of stuff in this life. It applies to most of us, it's not to everybody. I forgot to tell them. So like if we're born with some health issue that is very strong or something, that's going to affect my life. If I was born with some health issue that's strong, it's going to affect my life a lot. So then for me, this is not going to be true, right? Because my problem, my health issue is very strong, and most of the issues I have is not on this life, this case. But most of cases, this is what happens. So just let's not be very strict about it, right? It's a generic thing. Fernanda, now.
So I wanted to comment on the lack of planning, which I thought your examples were perfect.
Thank you.
But lack of planning is very relative. There's an expression that I read once that I'll never forget that says, "Man plan, God laughs." So, I'll never forget, because, you know, I'm a person who made a lot of plans. So it's like, if you have like very objective things like, you know, how family planning, you know, but sometimes, you know, you can plan whatever, but what's going to happen is what's best for you. You can write your list as many times as you want every year. But, so that I was just want to comment on that.
You're right.
You know, it's very...
Yeah, that's a great comment.
It's relative.
Yeah, they have at least if you do the planning, then we have like piece of concept. We did our part, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but you just have to keep in mind that...
I was talking as that's true, yeah. I can talk especially as a parent, right? So I'm a parent and I have my kids. If this happened to my kids, okay, but I did my part. At least I'm in peace. I can sleep well at night. So it's not the best situation, but at least this is covered. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.